What's going on, everyone? Gilman with Wellthy Stocks back with our daily Apple update video where we'll take a look at how Apple stock traded today, some key support and resistance levels that we are looking at moving into the future, and based on that, what we think Apple stock could do. So real quick, if you enjoy videos like this, hit that like button down below, subscribe to my channel if you are new, and comment down below what your thoughts on Apple are, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. So let me hit record and we will get right into it. Not a great start to 2021, right? We started off with a red day, unfortunately, but hey, that's a part of the whole, stock market game, isn't it? Some red days, some green days. So let's take a look at Apple. It was down $3.28 today, which is about 2.47%. So like I said, not a great day for Apple. The NASDAQ was down 1.5%. The Dow was down 347 points. At one point dropping, more than 500 points for the day, which was about 1.13%. And then S&P was down about $5, which is 1.36% as well. So compared to that, Apple had a bigger red day, but that's okay because we were kind of anticipating one. Not this much of a red day, right? Obviously, we were expecting a little bit less of a pullback, but we got a little bit more of a red day. So let's take a look at how Apple stock traded. Let's see if we can maybe point out some support and resistance levels that we have coming up to kind of see what the future for Apple could hold, right? So when I made the video yesterday, we were in this level 132s, and then we gapped up a little. We broke into this 133.45 level that we were looking at, which means this level should have acted as support, which it did kind of in the pre-market here, and then even right before market open, right? But what we saw right out of the gate was a sell-off. Now, this wasn't just an Apple sell-off, not to say that that's, okay, right? Because at the end of the day, Apple still did sell off. There were green stocks for the day, right? But the fact that the whole market sold off gives me a little bit of comfort that Apple also sold off, if that makes sense, right? Apple isn't selling off when the market's green, right? All markets, all three indexes were red, Apple selling off. So right out of the gate, we see a sell-off. What are we watching for? We're watching for this 129.58 level that we had kind of highlighted yesterday. We were watching for that 130. If we kind of draw a line here, what we see was, right, if I go here, draw a line on the EMAs, we had talked about the EMAs, and the AEMA came in right at 131.63. If we go back here, 131.63, right? So we didn't quite hold this 131.63 level for too long, right? If you see right there, a little bit of a bounce, push up, bounce, but then we ultimately fell below. And then, we were talking about potentially getting a stop at 130, being a mental bounce. As you can see a little bit, so it did go down to our level first. It tried to go above, and if I draw like a line right there, you could see bounce, push up, bounce, at 130 before it kind of pulled down, right? So 130 did hold up as a little bit of a mental support for a little bit. And then we pushed below this 129.58 level, right? And we dropped all the way to our next level, which was 126.65. We did not stop for the 21 EMA, unfortunately. This was a pretty nasty looking sell-off again between these two levels. We went from 129 to 126. But the good news is from that point on, we kind of pushed up. As you could see, the next level we were watching out for is again this 129.58 level, right? So all these levels that we have on the graph, if we are below it, it might act as a little bit of a resistance, right? We could go up, bounce, come right back down. If we are above it, then when we go down, it should act as a little bit of a support, bounce, come back up. So that's what we see here. We tried to break above this 129.58 level, couldn't quite do it, right? And then in the after hours, we are pretty much flat down 3 cents for the day. So bad news is that Apple stock was down for the day. The good news is our levels are looking pretty good, guys. You take a look at the trading, you take a look at my video yesterday, I had these levels, you see a bounce right there. Now that bounce didn't hold, right? But we did get a bounce there, which means that level is pretty significant. We got a pretty much perfect bounce, right? We're off by like 11 cents here, push up, and then we were expecting to get rejected here, and we did get rejected, right? Because the momentum wasn't there to take us through that level. So yes, some bad news with the way it's been trading, but the good news is that, we have been able to once again kind of do a really good job of pointing out the levels of support and resistance. So if you're someone who either A, is trading Apple on a daily basis, or B, wants to get into Apple, you know exactly what price could act as support and what price could act as resistance. Now, I also mentioned the 8 EMA and the 21 EMA, and clearly we saw that those didn't hold up as much. The 8 EMA we saw kind of held up. But, just something to keep in mind moving forward. So what's next for Apple stock, right? That's what everyone's wondering. Now, my kind of thinking behind the red day we had today was twofold, right? First and foremost, people that were holding, right, the stock that did not want to sell on December 31st, because that would be 2020, meaning that they would have to pay taxes coming up in a few months in 2021, right? April 15, 2021 is when you have to pay taxes for the 2020 year. If you sell in January though, right, you pay taxes in 2022, you pay taxes after the whole 2021 year. That could be one reason for the sell-off, right? People holding that were up decently on their investments, selling the first week of January to avoid having to pay taxes in 2021. The other reason is the Georgia runoff election. So as you guys know, that election was too close to call. There are 2 Senate seats up for grab. If Democrats take those 2 seats, we have a Democratic, party in the president's office, right? I don't know what I was going for there, right? We got Biden in the White House. We got the House being controlled by Democrats. Right now, the Senate is Republican, right? So if we have the Senate being Democratic, that means that they have control over kind of all 3 of those areas, which means if they want to push something, it'd be way, way easier for them to get it through rather than having a Republican Senate, which would mean a little bit of a gridlock, right? If they wanted to get something through, even though they have Biden support, they have House support, the Senate could turn that down. The reason the market doesn't like it is because they think that the Democrats might come in and they might increase, government spending, or they might have too much power, right? They might raise taxes, all that stuff. So those are my 2 reasons. And that's kind of why I'm being a little bit careful in my trading this week until we kind of get an answer on those elections. So with that said, moving forward, what do I see with the Apple stock? We are right below this 129.41 level. If we gap up a little, or if we push up a little tomorrow, I want to see it breaking above this 129. What was that level again? 129 kind of 50s, right? 129.60 essentially, high 50s, 60. 129.60, at which point I think it's getting ready for a push towards the 8 EMA, which is at 131.63, and then I want to see it take over that 133.45 level that we were at in pre-market today. That's if we see a green day tomorrow. Now, if we see news of coronavirus cases rising like we saw today, if we see news of the Georgia election leaning Democrat like we saw today, or we see continued selling off, then we could push down, in which case we've got the 21 EMA coming up right at it'll be right there. It's coming up at 128.31, which is about $1.10 from where we are now. And that could be not enough, like we've seen in the past couple of days, right? The first level of support that we have does not hold up a lot of the times because it's not enough of a sell-off for the sell-off to be over. If that's the case, I'm looking at this 126.65 level, after which I'm taking a look at that 34 EMA at 125.71. And if we keep falling, we've got the 123.69, right? So let me just recap that real quick. On the downside, first level I'm watching, 21 EMA, 128. Since that could not be enough of a sell-off, 126.65 comes up next. The 34 EMA comes behind that at 125.71, and then we've got 123.69. Personally, I mean, if we do see a nasty sell-off, we could get to 123.69. But if not, then I could see it, reversing and pushing up, since we did have a pretty decent second half of the day today. On the upside, looking for a break of this 129.41, get back into the 130s and make a push towards that 131.63 EMA and 133.45 level overall. I think this is going to be, I was hoping for a great month for Apple just because earnings are coming up at the end of this month. I think their 5G iPhone is probably going to sell very well, being that it was the holiday season and the initial orders being combined into one quarter, right? That's, I think, great news for Apple. Typically, those are broken down into 2 quarters. So I am expecting a run into earnings. There's just a little bit of this uncertainty that we have to get through this week before, I'm hoping for that hypothesis to be true. So I'm holding off right now on taking on any new trades. I do still own my shares in Apple, but because of this uncertainty, right, there's no way for us to really predict how the election is going to go, what the results of that would be. So for the next maybe day or two, I'm not going to do any options plays. You guys are welcome to do it. That's not to say no one should, right? There's always money to be made in the stock market. But for me, I'm holding my shares and kind of waiting to see how that election goes and what the market reaction is to that before I make any new trades related to that. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, subscribe to my channel if you are new, and comment down below what your thoughts on Apple are, and I'd love to chat with you guys down there. Let's remember to be a bit better every single day, and until next time.